The Omega was an heir of the effective and simple Nova architecture and technology, frequently called as the ugliest ship in space. In fact, it is the expression of the seek for the efficiency and the cost effectiveness. In terms of overall layout, the presence of a rotating section, yet experimented by the Rocketdyne in the 2244 and 45 with the Nova X battlecruiser, allowed to a ship long endurance and large troop carrying capability, strongly needed because, at least for some years, a relatively small number of ships had to protect the whole territory of the Earth Alliance. The square shapes of the Omega are related essentially to the production technologies employed, that allowed an excellent production rate, while the design, based on the Nova architecture, used all the good assets of the old dreadnought, eliminating the weak spots. The mechanical sturdiness of the hull structure and the survivability of the design was retained, as were retained a large hangar, capable to hold up to 36 ready-to-launch fighters, and the energy and engine systems, about which could be done only positive comments. The weapons system was totally reshaped, thanks to the new technologies based upon the Narn beam weapons bought during the war, and further developed by Earth Force, and deserves a description and some considerations. The Novas had two limits in their weapons. First of all, a plasma weapon is intrinsically short-ranged, even if with an high effectiveness. Mostly, the Novas lacked an effective anti-fighter defense. The problem did not emerge in the Dilgar War. The Interceptor Grid Mark I was capable to handle, with its light plasma projectors, the few fighters capable to get through the Star Fury and escort units screen, but in the Earth-Minbari War, emerged clearly that was needed something more effective. In its new design, the Earth Force Navy asked a generational jump: long-range anti-ship firepower, based upon beam weapons, superior armor and survivability, superior interceptor capability and an anti-fighter defense capable to saturate the space with a barrage of fire virtually impossible to overcome. Was required even a plasma pulse capability with a firepower close to the Nova. Apparently, all these requirements seemed impossible to overcome, but the weapon technology of the Earth Alliance was well known for its capability of quick evolutions. The EA weapon industry had a centuries-old experience in the field of the particle accelerators and the plasma weapons, and the Narn weapons taught how to build a particle beam cannon that based its power upon a relatively high mass flow at moderate speeds instead of the highly relativistic, low amperage particle cannons used by the Earth Alliance. This allowed superior damage and vastly superior power output with a simpler design and a shorter barrel. The use of the heavy particles technology allowed a further jump in terms of specific power and terminal damage. The new concept opened even a new field of development, the hybrid weapon, so a weapon system capable to operate both as an heavy particles beam cannon and as a powerful plasma pulse weapon. While overall the Omega Destroyer, whose first series unit, the OCD-1 Achilles, was rushed in service in record time, in the September 2248, showed immediately to be a superior warship. Slightly faster than a Nova, it had a new, better protection, based upon the new Carbonate 4 armor, an interceptor grid, the Mark II, that integrated not only all the specific bolt projectors and all the bolt weapons available on board, but even the Star Furies, giving an awesome point defense capability, and a new model of E-Web that near doubled the beam weapons resistance respect to the model used on the Nova, with special features, developed to effectively oppose the Minbari antimatter slicer beams. This evolution allowed this ship to face the Minbari firepower long enough to fight effectively, while the new, beam pulse-based weapons system in the beam mode had range and power enough to hardly hit a Charlene war cruiser. The Minbari weapons have a power output that is about 3 or 4 times the power of an Omega, but the range is about the same, and the Minbari cruiser is not enough protected to take punishment of these levels and maintain an operational capability. Mostly, a beam weapon is enormously easier to aim than a plasma pulse weapon. Essentially, what is required is simply a bore-sighted line of aim, so a beam weapon, even in the case of a lack of trackers lock-on, is quite accurate and easy to target even with simple manual or optical systems. At a length of some 1,754.2 meters, the ship operated with a crew of 850 officers and was capable of transport another 18,000 troops. The ship was powered by 4 fusion reactors directly coupled within 4 plasma engines and require maintenance every 18 months. The ship was fitted with 2 jump engines. The armament consisted of 8 heavy particle beam and heavy pulse cannon, 2 heavy plasma mortars, 12 phalanx heavy particles and plasma pulse, 2 fusion missiles launchers with 12 missiles each. The ship's defense consisted of 8 to 12 meter armored hull, multi-layer carbonate 5 composite armor, 16 interceptor, 18 Mark II defense grid projectors with E-Web Mark II. The ship was fitted with 36 Aurora or Thunderbolt Star Fury crew shuttles, atmospheric shuttles, breaching pods. At the moment of its inception and still today, the Omega was a warship operationally superior and more powerful than every other younger race's unit, except the Centauri Octurian dreadnoughts and, clearly, the Minbari cruisers. The Omega has been produced at the date in more than 1,700 units, and while about 370 have been lost in service, mostly during the Civil War and the Drak War, the others are still in service. With the mass-produced Omega, the Earth Force Navy had what was needed: a warship capable to defend the Earth Alliance, to renew the Earth Force military might, and mostly capable to fight against the Minbari with acceptable odds of success. Please, if you like this video, remember to like, share and subscribe. I'll be posting videos regularly. Thank you for watching.